Okay, let's continue. I feel like I'm like zipping along here. Zippity doo dah. Okay, so here we are with dealing with our anger. Oh yes, this is great. How do you deal with your anger? So, many of us have a hard time dealing with anger. Some of us have a history of rage, so we try to stifle our feelings. Others of us stuff down the feelings of anger, pretending they don't exist, because we were never allowed to express them in the past. If some of our problems stem from not knowing how to express anger properly, we may try to avoid dealing with it altogether. We may try to put it off and hope it goes away. It never does. Oh. Yeah, hoping it goes away. Evaluating how to deal with anger appropriately is an important part of our daily inventory. So, how dealing with anger. I'm going to read to you what the Apostle Paul said about sin. Sin by letting anger control you. Don't let the sun go down while you're still angry. Alright, hold on. That's not what I wanted to read. So let me just turn to the page that I wanted to read to you guys. Here we go. Living as children of light. So, with the Lord's authority, I say this: live no longer as the Gentiles do, for they are hopelessly confused. Their minds are full of darkness. They wander far from the life God gives them because they have closed their minds and hardened their hearts against Him. They have no sense of shame. They live for lustful pleasure and eagerly practice every kind of impurity. But that isn't what you learned about Christ. Since you have heard about Jesus and have learned the truth that comes from Him, throw off your old sinful nature and your former way of life, which is corrupted by lust and deception. Instead, let the Spirit renew your thoughts and attitudes. Put on your new nature, created to be like God, truly righteous and holy. So stop telling lies. Tell our neighbors the truth. Or let us tell, stop telling lies. Let us tell our neighbors the truth. For we are all parts of the same body. And don't sin by letting anger control you. Don't let the sun go down while you are still angry, for anger gives a foothold to the devil. If you are a thief, quit stealing. Instead, use your hands for good, hard work, and then give generously to others in need. Don't use foul or abusive language. Let everything you say be good and helpful, so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. And do not bring sorrow to God's Holy Spirit by the way you live. Remember, He has identified you as His own, guaranteeing that you will be saved on the day of redemption. So get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, harsh words, and slander, as well as all types of evil behavior. Instead, be kind to each other, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, just as God, through Christ, has forgiven you. So, a life of recovery is committed to knowing God better through prayer and meditation on His Word. In examining our life, we realize how demanding God's standards for righteous living are. He will teach us to live without bitterness, rage, or harsh words. God is in the business of healing our relationships. When we do things His way, we are well on the way of reconciling with our alienated friends and building solid foundations for recovery. So yes, He is so much in the business for healing relationships. He is the ruler. He is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. You know, God is not an angry God. I don't know what people see Him to be as, but He is definitely not angry. He's merciful. He hates the sin that we're committing. So, dealing with anger promptly is important, because when it is left to fester, it becomes bitterness. Bitterness is anger that has been buried and given time to grow. The Bible warns us in Ephesians 4:31-32, "Get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger, harsh words and slander, as well as all types of evil behavior. Instead, be kind to each other, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, just as God, through Christ, has forgiven you." Alcoholics Anonymous teaches that we should never allow ourselves to become too angry, too hungry, too angry, lonely, or tired. We can help accomplish this by promptly dealing with our anger when it occurs. I learned that in rehab. Halt! If you're, if you're hungry, if you're angry, lonely, and tired, could lead you to relapse. If you ignore those things and you allow yourself to become those things. That's why you have to feed yourself. I'll speak for myself. That's why I feed myself daily with the Word of God. And I'm continuing having to check myself to make sure. And there are times where, I get really aggravated. I mean, I'll get short with you, and I know that, I'm going through something right now. I gotta go take somewhere and pray. And so I'll go and I'll pray, and I cried, I just prayed to God. I had one rough morning a couple Sundays ago, and I seeked God, and I was in church, had a wonderful service, and afterwards I was so blessed. I was filled with so much joy and peace, and the Lord just, that aggravation I was feeling, it went away. And so we what do we do, you guys? What can we do to deal with our anger properly? There's prayer, there's meditation, exercise. As we're walking our recovery to be more Christ-like, hopefully our mouths, the way that we speak, is changing. The Spirit will just help you with that. I'm still working on mine. I'm not perfect, like I said. I'll slip up and say something. I don't curse as I used to. I used to have, every word was like the F-bomb, and I had a dirty mouth, foul mouth, and the Lord is working on me still. So, but dealing with our anger, you know, is really, 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 it's very important on how we do that appropriately. Like hitting walls and kicking things and throwing things, yeah, that's not good, obviously. That kind of behavior will continue to grow, and that will actually worsen. And I mean, and then stuffing it down. You don't want to stuff it down. I did that a lot. I would stuff things down. I was a stuffer. I was a stuffer and a runner. I would stuff it, and then I would run, and I would go get high. And now I've learned to cope. And it's really, for me, it's just seeking after positivity, you know, seeking after God, watching, being careful and cautious of what goes into my body, because I realize with my walk, it's not about actual food, it's what I see. I allow myself to watch on TV, which is why I limit my TV very, very, very much. I don't watch the shows that I used to, because I'm born again. And I mean, it's just amazing the work that the Lord can do with you if you are willing. And if you are wanting to be willing and don't know how, pray for God to bless you with the willingness to be willing. You know, it might sound stupid, but it's so not, because He will bless you with that, and next thing you know, He'll be throwing blessings upon your life. So I'm so thankful for the Lord and for what He has done in my life, and that I am able to be used to help others, because it helps me to help others. And I'm really hoping that I'm reaching at least one person. If I can at least reach one person, or get sink this into one person, it was worth it. It's worth it. So let's continue. Be right back.